Mack is a regional coordinator for the MyCom Youth Development Initiative of Greater Cleveland. Her love for math, science, and problem solving led her to pursue a degree in electrical engineering from Purdue University. She believes that STEM is a doorway for exploration and a vehicle to problem solving and creativity in any field.
So my name is Lisa Mack. I am a regional coordinator for the MyCom Youth Development Initiative of Greater Cleveland. I attended Purdue University, where I received a degree in electrical engineering. Since have been through a number of different careers, but just thinking that the engineering degree was a great foundation for all of my other endeavors.
Right, of course. Okay. So first question is sort of, can you give an overview of what type of paths, decisions, even people led you to where you are today?
So I'll start, back in school, my favorite subjects were science and math. Not necessarily my best subjects, but my favorite subjects. So I started participating in engineering programs all through high school and eventually decided to pursue a degree in engineering based on that love for the math and science fields. I graduated from Purdue and went on to work for what is now Rockwell Automation. When I started working with it, it was kind of like a privately held company called Allen Bradley. It's now Rockwell Automation. And I worked there for several years as a component engineer, and then eventually a senior component engineer. Eventually left that because I became a mom and started doing some home-based entrepreneurial experiences. Had a travel agency, event planning agency, but predominantly then once I started having a second child, became a stay-at-home mom actually. Then fast forward several years after my third child started kindergarten. My husband and I opened a business. It was a staffing agency that we had about 3 years until the recession came. Eventually became an office manager at a church, kind of went back into the work world, and then transitioned to the MyCom position, which I've been with for about 5 years now.
Wow, that is truly a journey. Wow, you've done a lot of different things. That's so cool. So do you think that you have any mentors that pop out at you from your memory that really you think impacted your sort of, or molded your decisions and your plan in life?
Yeah, so way back when, I'm not going to disclose my age, but I had a youth director actually in at my church who was an engineer. It was not usual to have a Black engineer. Even when I started school, very few Black engineering students, especially female, but he was definitely a role model. And once he saw that I had the interest in math and science, helped direct me into different programs that would help me be introduced and it helped me experience kind of what that field would look like.
Wow, that's amazing. I think mentorship really goes a long way, huh?
Yes.
Okay. And then what advice would you give yourself if you could back in middle school or high school?
Pursue those things that interest you. As I said, math and science were not necessarily my best subjects, but they were ones that I enjoyed. actually, when it came time to choose a major in college, I tried to decide between engineering and music. Um,
Oh, wow.
and engineering won out just because of the practicality of it, pretty much.
Mhm.
But as you're pursuing your choice, having to make that decision at such a young age is pretty interesting. Your life trajectory. But
Yeah,
go with what you're passionate about, what really interests you, and it should carry you a long way.
that is so true. What sort of for you, because it's so common to have that sort of relationship with math and science, especially early on. What would you say helped you get over that? What would you say they were like, at what point were you like, I can do this? I can actually do this, even though they're not my best subjects? Um, and then transform those into something that you do all the time.
Well, I really enjoyed the challenge of solving a problem.
Mhm.
Um, and just really became excited about the different aspects of math and science and the experimental nature of science. And again, the problem solving of math, and then being involved in programs again during high school, which took us into engineering. I was in a summer program that took us to university, and we did the experiments and did the projects and all, and just kind of see how that tied into everything. And just that exposure was just really invaluable for me.
Okay, that's amazing. I think that's super true. A lot of people don't value um, doing these sort of experiences as early as high school.
Mhm.
But that can really show you, like, just hands-on seeing it in person. You can be like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, this is not what I want to do, or wow, this is really what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sort of lastly, do you have any advice that you would give kids that are sort of in your situation or similar situation right now, um, that you think would help them a lot going forward?
Um, just really gain the exposure to learn how it applies to life. For instance, in a couple of schools, we've implemented some coding classes where the kids are able to build their own websites about themselves, and just making it applicable, seeing how you take, a lot of kids always have phones in their hands and all those kinds of things, but kind of see the inner workings of it.
Mhm.
Just try to find opportunities and just expose yourself to everything, because you know I, I found engineering, as I said, I'm not in the engineering field. I'm in the field I'm in because I found a passion in raising my children and advocating for them. And it extended into kind of a career change. But even if you do end up with a career change, I would never regret ever getting that engineering degree, because it was such a foundational degree that I've built upon, and I still use a lot of those skills in my everyday life as well. So,
Mhm.
if it's anything of interest, go for it, explore it, and see where it leads you.
Mhm. That's excellent. I just realized I never asked you sort of to describe what you do with MyCom. If you can give us a brief summary of that, that'd be great.
Okay. So again, I'm a regional coordinator with MyCom. My region is the Mount Pleasant region, which is Mount Pleasant, Union, Miles, and Lee Harvard. And I always say that my job is to build a village for youth. As the African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child. So I work with build a network of faith-based institutions, libraries, schools, program providers, businesses, anyone who's interested in helping our children become productive citizens. So we give exposure opportunities. We do summer employment, teach them how to advocate. Before COVID, would take them to the Capitol in Columbus so that they could advocate for issues that really impacted them. And
Mm.
so it's just real joy and pleasure, and a really meaningful opportunity that I get to do for a job.
That's so amazing. I love that. You sound so passionate about it.
I am very much so.
Okay, and then what does STEM mean to you?
Um, wow, that's an interesting question.
Yeah,
Um,
it can be simply how you feel about it, how you would describe it to someone else, how it's been in your life specifically, whatever STEM honestly just means to you.
well, STEM, um, to me is um, a doorway that can be open to explore the inner workings of a lot of things, a way to build, a way to learn, using the science and the technology and engineering and math as a vehicle to get to whatever the destination is.
Mm.
I think it's an opportunity, and as I said before, it's just a real great foundational way to explore and to create. I guess that's all I have.
Yeah, that's perfect.